I don't think investors listen to Elon's economic forecast. I think he's viewed as a great engineer.
Fund manager Gary Black says there's going to be no recession and that Tesla stock is going to be at $370 per share within 6 to 12 months. Let's take a listen to what he has to say about Tesla's earnings.
Joining us now for more on Musk and the Tesla story, longtime Tesla bull and future fund managing partner Gary Black. Gary, good to see you. Can we just say that the price cuts between 7 and 20% here in the U.S. were a success, or is it too early to tell?
I think they're a success. Look, the quarter itself, the fourth quarter itself, was kind of unspectacular. The gross margins were weak. If you back out all the kind of the non-recurring things in the quarter, they actually missed. But, as you point out, the conference call was pretty successful. Elon got on there and showed a lot of confidence and said the January order is about twice what production is. He even kind of hinted, well, maybe we could even do 2 million units in 2023. And that's what's pushing the stock up 10% today. It was really the outlook on the volume side, which was a result of cutting price about 3 weeks ago now. Stock's up almost 50% since they cut price. So that's a tell.
When I went through the earnings report, I thought overall nothing bad was in there and nothing great was in there. It was just pretty much neutral. We had the earnings call and the stock shot up more than 5%. It appears that many were expecting maybe there is going to be something really bad in that earnings report. Maybe the guidance will be really reduced, and the guidance was sort of reduced. Elon is only guiding for 1.8 million deliveries, which is quite far from 50% year-over-year growth. Although he did say that there is potential for 2 million deliveries, assuming that there's no new conflict between countries. So that's why the low guidance was given. And then people heard about that. They got really excited. And that's when I made a video, new Tesla stock catalyst descended 10% higher in a day. And what did we have? We had 2 days where Tesla stock went up 10% in a single day consecutively. I still think that catalyst is not fully priced in, although largely it is priced in. So the lack of bad news in the earnings report and the earnings call was fantastic, great news for everyone.
Gary, what about recession? It came up a couple of times during that conference call when you talk about demand, a looming recession. That, of course, you would think would be a big risk, but Musk actually had a positive spin on it. In part, he said, if the recession is a serious one, we expect to see deflation in our input costs most likely, which would then lead to, yes, better margin. Do you buy that?
I don't think investors listen to Elon's economic forecast. I think he's viewed as a great engineer, a great product guy, a visionary about climate change and accelerating the world's transition to a sustainable world. But he's not an economic forecaster. I think most people, including myself, believe if we have a recession, it's going to be extremely shallow because the Fed could cut rates any time, and they probably will. So I don't think people are buying into that there's going to be a recession. I think what people are excited about is, remember last year, fourth quarter was disaster. They, were cutting price in China. They were promoting the hell to try to get to a number in the fourth quarter in the U.S. And it looks like when you hear them talk yesterday that the volumes are surging. And so now people are thinking, okay, well, the 2023 volumes will probably be pretty good. And people are even talking first quarter numbers north of 450,000.
If you take that 450,000 delivery target for Q1, and if we actually annualize that, we will have already 1.8 million deliveries. This assumes that the 2 factories that are ramping right now fast in Texas, the Giga Austin factory, and the one in Germany, Giga Berlin factory, this assumes they will not be ramped further during the year. It is a little bit difficult to understand how Tesla would not deliver more than 1.8 million deliveries this year. Of course, if we have earthquakes, tsunamis, asteroids dropped on the factories, pandemics, conflicts between countries, all of that is possible. But That's not usually what you would normally expect, right?
Which would be a really big number. So I think that's what's got the stock on a move, and people are not really paying too much attention to him saying, maybe there's going to be a recession or there's probably going to be a recession, because that's not his skill set.
I'm glad to hear you say that, because most of us are trying to square the circle of a pretty difficult recession with demand for 2 million EVs, which is kind of
Right.
difficult to reconcile.
Yeah, remember how Elon Musk said the recession is inevitable in the US, and that if it does happen, the recession could last until the spring of 2024? Well, it would be probably reasonable to assume that the guidance that Elon Musk gives for deliveries assumes there is going to be a pretty bad recession. So if Gary is right here, and if there is no recession because the Fed could stop increasing interest rates, and if the inflation calms down, then likely there would not be a recession. In that case, this would suggest the actual deliveries would be much higher, blowing out all of the delivery estimates, therefore making the stock soar perhaps if these delivery estimates are actually beat.
Okay, so in terms of the margins in Q1, how concerned are you given those price cuts?
Yeah. So my margin expectation is about 23% for 23, and I'm looking for about 1.9 million volume for the year. So I think I'm probably a little bit more optimistic than the average street. The street's really come down. If you look at estimates for 2023 since the beginning of the year, they're down about 16%. But, to your point, the stock is up year to date almost 30%. So I think most people are saying we're going to give them a pass for first quarter and even for the year if the margins are light, but they got to hit the volume numbers. And then people are looking for other catalysts from Tesla for the year. So it's not just, the volume's doing better. People are assuming that he's going to give up his CEO role at Twitter, which would be a positive.
Yeah, looking at all of the potential bad news for Tesla now, it appears that most of the bad news is in already. Elon bought Twitter and sold a lot of Tesla stock. Elon promised to no longer sell any more Tesla stock, at least for the next 12 months or so. And a lot of the drop for Tesla stock happened because Elon sold Tesla stock and he bought Twitter and all this Twitter noise. So, what is he going to do next? Buy CNN and Fox? He's not going to do that. Right? If he does, then prepare for a buying opportunity.
They're going to at least announce probably 2 or 3 more gigafactories because they got to get the volumes up to, say, 10 million by 2030. And the most important catalyst is Cybertruck. Cybertruck, we've been waiting for 4 years. There's 1.3 million pre-orders. That is a huge catalyst if they can get that out by the end of the year and in early next year.
Gary is quite right here. That Cybertruck is probably going to have pretty juicy margins, and I have one on pre-order as well.
And there's one more thing that I don't think the street's paying much attention to. It's called megapacks. And they're these, they're basically cells of batteries that they sell to utilities for peak demand. And those things run for about $2 million each. They had a factory come online at the end of third quarter in Lathrop, California, that has a capacity of 10,000 units. So even if you sold, let's say, 2,500 units this year, that's a huge boost to revenue and earnings, and nobody's really paying attention to it.
When it comes to factories, here's what I said. The first year of factories do not produce much. The Berlin factory opened about a year ago. I would keep my expectations for Lathrop, where the megapacks are going to be produced, low this year, but of course higher for next year and a year after that. Look at this. The Berlin one is in red. It opened about a year ago, and it's producing almost nothing compared to Fremont and Shanghai. But we will look at this chart a year from now again, and we'll be like, whoa, these factories are actually producing quite a few vehicles now.
So I think there's a lot of catalysts for this year, and that's why, again, I think the stock is on the move today.
Cybertruck being the big catalyst. I've had some questions about that. I'm still skeptical looking at the design of it and everything. But Gary, I'll take your word.
I want to know if Gary'd drive that.
Yeah, Gary, would you drive that?
I have an order in the Tri-Motor. I live in Chicago. I can't wait to drive it up to Nobu in Chicago and leave it there and have all the kids take pictures of it. I mean, it's going to be, it's so radical looking that you either love it or you hate it. And I think it's beautiful.
When I first saw the Cybertruck for the first time, I was like, whoa. Is this real? Is that the real vehicle? Really? I don't know. I was not fond of it. But then I looked at the specs and everything. I was like, yeah, that, like on paper, the specs, they make so much sense. And then over time, I was like, huh. I looked at these renders and these videos. It actually looks really good.
Well, I think it's going to be a huge seller, and it's going to open up Tesla to we'll call it the under 40 market. Those are the people who are going to buy it. It's not going to be, I mean, it's going to be priced where Model Y is. So it'll probably start at 49. The biggest one, which will be the Tri-Motor, will be 69. But think about this. I think it's going to ride like a car. It looks like a spaceship. And it's going to be 0 to 60 in 3 seconds. What could you not like about this?
All right, you're doing a good job selling me on it. I'm still not fully sold, but I'm in that market that you were saying that people that it would be popular amongst.
Your man will like it. Your man will like it.
All right. Gary Black, great to have you. Thanks so much for joining us.
My wife actually likes it too. And you may like this buying opportunity of Tesla stock presented by Elon Musk. My name is Matt Post. Just like and subscribe if you haven't yet, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.